Game start.
Hey, welcome back to the Average Joe Nerdcast. I'm Nate, your resident globe-head operative, broadcasting from a secure, round location. Because November means two things: turkey and arguments with family members who swear the moon landing was filmed on a soundstage. So, for the entire month of November, every Mainline Monday episode is part of a new series I'm calling CTRL ALT DELUSION. It's your official pre-Thanksgiving survival kit. Every week, we're taking on one of the internet's favorite conspiracy theories, breaking down where it came from, why people believe it, and giving you just enough roast ammo to survive your uncle's research. And we're kicking it off with the crown jewel of nonsense itself, the Flat Earth conspiracy. So grab your globes, your coffee, and maybe a Frisbee for demonstration purposes, because today we're going to the edge. No, like literally, we are going to the edge of the world, the edge of the disc, of the cosmic Little Caesars pizza we apparently live on. Breaking news. Scientists have confirmed the Earth is actually flat. Gravity is optional, airplanes are lying, Antarctica is a big ice wall patrolled by Navy SEAL penguins, and Australia does not exist. Australia has never existed. Your cousin who moved to Sydney for school? Paid actor from Oregon with a tan. Hi, hello, welcome. I'm already tired. Because today we are strapping on our emotional parachutes and swan diving headfirst into one of the most famous, unkillable, loudest conspiracies on the internet: Flat Earth. This is the episode people have been requesting, which I love because y'all didn't say, "Hey Nate, could you calmly explain the psychology and misinformation pipelines that lead people to reject observable reality?" Oh no. You all said, "Hey Nate, will you roast these people until they cry?" And I said, "Say less." Because we're going to cover it all. We're going to cover the NASA is lying. We're going to cover the government is hiding the ice wall. We're going to cover gravity is fake. We're going to cover boats disappear over the horizon because of perspective. We're going to cover the part where some of these dudes try to replace 400 years of math with "my cousin Dave looked across a lake and said, nuh-uh." We are going full send. I'm going to walk you through where Flat Earth came from, who's keeping it alive, why it refuses to die, and then I'm going to set it on fire in front of you while Steve tries to put it out with lighter fluid. So buckle up. Actually, you know what? Unbuckle. Because according to Flat Earth logic, inertia's fake anyway, so apparently if a car stops, you don't lurch forward, you just vibe. So deep breath, stretch your jaw, hydrate. This is going to be a long one. Today is a war crime in the shape of an audio file, but this is still the Average Joe Nerdcast rules. We're not gatekeeping, we're not punching down at people who just don't know something yet. We are absolutely enthusiastically punching up at loud influencers who weaponize confidence with a ring light as a substitute for knowing what in the fuck you're actually talking about. Because here's the problem with Flat Earth. Most people who believe it, they're not stupid. They're just not. They're just stuck in this algorithmic funhouse where every answer is don't trust anyone, and it feels cool to be in on the secret. It feels like you found the hidden level. And you're like, I knew it. School lied, NASA lied, Bill Nye the Science Guy lied, Neil deGrasse Tyson definitely lied, and my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Reynolds, double lied. She never liked me anyway. And that feeling, that little, I cracked it, I solved the code, I'm the rogue detective the system couldn't control, that is addictive. It's identity. And there are very, very loud people online who figured out they can sell that identity back to you for money, for followers, for conference tickets, for merch. So part of this episode is for entertainment, and part of it is do not let these fucking clowns take your mom. All that said, let's go ahead and light them up. File 01, Map Quest for Morons. Subtitle, How Did We Even Get Here? So this first bit is all about origins, because believe it or not, Flat Earth is not new. This isn't something TikTok invented last Thursday between a girl doing eyeliner and a dude reviewing energy drinks. This thing has been around in one form or another forever. And here's the fun twist. For most of human history, the people who actually studied the sky, they knew Earth was round. Like, round Earth is not modern woke science. Ancient Greece had this locked down. We're talking like 2,000 plus years ago, guys were out there with sticks and shadows and basic geometry going, yeah, looks like a sphere. Next question. So let me set that scene, because it's actually kind of sick. Jump back to ancient Greece. There's this dude, Eratosthenes, which sounds like a boss from God of War, but he's actually a librarian. My hero. He notices in one city at noon, a stick casts a shadow. In another city, same exact time, no shadow at all. Now, if Earth were flat, those shadows would match because the sun rays would all hit that flat surface the same exact way. But they didn't match. So he's like, oh, the ground must be curved. And then, and this is where it gets rude, he does the math on the angle difference between the shadows, compares the distance between those two cities, and calculates the size of the entire planet by hand in 200-something BC while wearing sandals. He basically measures Earth using a stick and pure vibes, and he's only off by like a couple percent compared to modern numbers. Meanwhile, in 2025, some dipshit named Blade Runner 420 on YouTube is like, nuh-uh, because my iPhone level app says my driveway is flat. Sir, please. So, no, we didn't recently invent round Earth to sell you globes. We've known. Sailors knew. Astronomers knew. The people who navigated by the stars so they didn't crash into rocks and die horribly in the age of your boat is made out of wood and your medicine is just rum. They knew. You can literally watch a ship sail away and disappear bottom first. That's curvature. That's not render distance. We're not in Halo 3 on a 2007 plasma where the map stops loading after Blood Gulch. That's the planet curving. And before somebody jumps in and goes, well, actually, if you use a zoom lens and enhance, you can still see the boat. So, checkmate, sheeple. Okay, number one, congratulations. You discovered farther things look smaller. Up next, you're going to invent perspective and sell it as a masterclass. Number two, even with zoom, you still can't see the bottom of the boat after a certain distance because it's tucked behind the curve. You're not refuting physics. You're recreating it in 1080p and then declaring victory. So yeah, ancient people knew. Most educated people knew. Where it gets weird, where it gets put a pin in this because we're coming back later with a chainsaw, is the 1800s. Enter Samuel Rowbotham. Samuel Rowbotham was a 19th century English inventor, writer, doctor, and professional chaos gremlin who performed a series of experiments and then said, basically, Earth is flat because I said so. God said so, and if you disagree, you're part of the agenda. This dude is patient zero for modern flat Earth. He wrote under the pseudonym Parallax, which is adorable because parallax is literally an optical effect caused by the fact that we live on a spherical planet. So my guy named himself after the evidence against him. Peak brand. Here's what he did. He went to a long, straight canal, the Bedford Level, and said, if Earth is curved, I shouldn't be able to see a boat 6 miles away at eye height. But I can. Boom! Flat. Sounds convincing until you do the math correctly. Account for refraction, account for the fact that he wasn't at the same elevation the entire time, and account for the fact that he cherry-picked his best results and ignored the ones that broke his claim. So like, science, except performed backwards and powered by vibes and ego. He ends up publishing this whole thing called Zetetic Astronomy, which basically says, don't trust scientists, don't trust math, don't trust telescopes, only trust what your eyes personally see, right now, from exactly where you are. And that I only believe what I personally can observe in the exact moment thing, that's the infection. That's the core. That's the soul of modern conspiracy culture. Because, okay, let's test it. Using only direct eyesight, I cannot personally see Belgium. Does Belgium exist? I've never seen my own brain. Do I really have one? Steve has never seen $1 million in cash. Does that mean $1 million is fake? Back to Robotham. Robotham goes on tour like an 1800s TikToker. He's giving lectures, arguing in public with scientists, doing gotcha demos. He's basically the blueprint for every debate me, coward guy in your comments section. And people loved it. Because here's the emotional trap. You're sitting in the crowd. You're some working class dude in 1849. You didn't get fancy schooling. You're constantly being talked down to by rich guys with powdered hair and monocles. Then this loud rebel dude walks in and goes, they are lying to you. You're not stupid. You're right. Trust yourself. And you're like, hell yeah, I'm smart. Hell yeah, I see the truth. Hell yeah, science is a scam. That guy in the lab coat does think he's better than me. I knew it. So Robotham wasn't selling astronomy. He was selling you are not dumb. And that hits. That hits hard. And that will always sell. And this is extremely important for understanding why Flat Earth is still here, right now in 2025. It is not about the shape of the planet. It's about ego protection. Because if I tell you Earth is round because math and satellites and physics and navigation and air travel and every photo from orbit, you have to either accept, okay, the evidence is overwhelming, guess I was wrong. Or you have to build an entire mental fortress to make yourself still feel right. And Flat Earth people, they build the fortress. They build lore. They build cosmology. They build NASA Lies starter packs. They build the Antarctic Ice Wall Defense League. They have answers for everything, even if those answers contradict each other so hard they fist fight in the parking lot. That is what we're walking into today. Now, let's do a quick fast forward. Robotham dies eventually because he's human, and we are not yet in the DLC where flat earthers claim immortality is real if you put copper in your shoes during a blood moon, but let's give them some time. And the movement kind of chills out a bit. It never fully goes away, it just goes underground. It becomes more religious. You'll see people saying, the Bible says 4 corners, therefore square map, therefore no globe. Checkmate, sheeple. And by the way, we will be talking about Bible verses that aren't actually doing what you think they're doing in a later segment. Oh yes, we are going there. So stay tuned, for the Lord said don't at me, bro. But Flat Earth doesn't really blow up again until YouTube, Facebook groups, and conferences. Welcome to Flat Earth Con 2017, baby! We've got distrust of math, we've got laser pointers, we've got dudes selling books called 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, even though they very much live on a spinning ball. We've got merch tables featuring globes, but with a big red X through them. No, that's actually real. These events are real. Like hundreds of people renting hotel conference rooms next to the Marriott breakfast bar real. And here's where our modern Flat Earth all-stars begin to show up. This is where you start getting the YouTube channels and podcast guys and TikTok creators who go full time on this shit. I'm not going to name names because, one, I'm not giving free promo, and two, some of these people absolutely Google their own fucking names and will DM you at 3 a.m. with 14-minute voice messages like, "Explain the horizon, Nate." But you've seen them. You've scrolled past them. Ball caps, sunglasses indoors, American flag in the background, or like low blue lighting gamer chair energy, microphone too close to their mouth so all you hear is, "Listen, sheeple." You'll see thumbnails like "NASA caught lying, Antarctica wall exposed, they don't want you to see this, must watch before deleted." And you click, because we're all monkeys and the fire emoji works best on us. Inside, it's always the same script. Step 1, attack the mainstream narrative. Step 2, offer alternate secret truths. Step 3, sell you something. It's a pipeline. It's professional now. It's no longer some guy with a hand-sketched map at the VFW hall. It's a guy with ad revenue, a Patreon, and a community Discord called something like Edge Runners or Wall Guards. It's marketing. And listen, I am personally offended because you know how many hours I put into Halo lore episodes? Do you know how deep I dig on the Venture Brothers or Cartoon Network? You know how much prep goes into the entire month of October for Nerdoween, or hell, the PhD thesis I had to go through for Holy Ghosts and Pagan Posts? Meanwhile, this guy films his steering wheel in a Walmart parking lot and goes, "What they're not telling you about curvature," and he clears $6,000 a month. I'm not mad. I'm just saying if y'all start tipping me globe money, I'll buy nicer microphones. Or maybe get a Taco Bell budget. So that's where we're at. Flat Earth survived because it mutated into content. YouTube recommendation rabbit holes turned, "Haha, look at this funny dude yelling about NASA," into, "Wait a minute, what if he has a point?" into, "I trust this guy more than my kid's teacher." It became community. It became a tribe. And then, this is key, it became identity. Once it's identity, logic stops working. Because now if I say, "Hey man, the earth is round," you don't hear, "Here's some information." You hear, "I'm attacking you." You hear, "I'm calling you stupid." You hear, "I'm trying to take something from you." That's how cult psychology works. That's how radicalization works. That's how fandom works, if we're being honest. We'll talk about Star Wars some other time. I'm not opening that fucking holocron today. So if you're wondering why is Flat Earth still a thing when we literally have pictures of Earth from space, there's your answer. Because for some people, Earth is flat equals I am smart and special and awake and not like the drones. And as soon as believing something makes you feel chosen, whoo boy, you're locked. Okay, that's the emotional foundation. That's a little bit of the history foundation. Now we're walking in. Before we go deeper, I just want to say one more thing, and I'm being real for a second. If you're listening to this and you're like, "Okay, Nate, but my uncle believes this and I'm worried about him," or "My kid started watching these videos," or "I got into this for a minute a few years ago and honestly it made me feel powerful," I'm not judging you. Seriously. The internet has gotten scary good at hacking human brains. Like, Here is a short, confident video that answers every fear you have and calls you a hero for believing it. Want more? Scroll. Scroll again. Scroll again. And next thing you know, you're arguing at Thanksgiving about airplane windows like you're in court. So I'm not here like, haha, look at the fucking idiots. That's not what this is. I am here like, haha, look at the people making money selling look at the idiots. Those people, they can catch these fucking hands, spiritually speaking. Allegedly. All right, deep breath, sip of water. Hydration, sponsored by water, the roundest drink. This episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is brought to you by Globeco. Globeco, we make round things, balls, tires, blueberries, your head. You're welcome. All right, let's define what flat earth people actually believe, because there are flavors. You thought this was just the earth is flat? Oh no. Oh no. We have subfactions. We have subclasses. We have prestige builds. Some common models. Model 1, the dinner plate. Imagine a big circular disc. North Pole is the center. Continents are laid out around it. Antarctica isn't a South Pole, it's a giant ice wall around the edge to keep the oceans from spilling off into space. That's real. That's genuinely something people believe. Like, we live in a giant cosmic charcuterie board, and Antarctica is the rim so your olives don't fall off. In this model, gravity is usually not real. We'll get to that in our physics roast segment, but yeah, apparently gravity is just density and things seek their natural place, which is beautiful, very poetic, and also extremely wrong. Like, I did shrooms and wrote a Tumblr poem in 2013 wrong. Model 2, the dome. Same dinner plate, but now there's a big transparent dome over it like we're ants in a kid's science kit. The sun and moon are not huge bodies in space, they're like little lamps circling around inside the dome, like a ceiling fan with ideas. Stars? Stickers on the inside of the dome. Planets? Projections. Satellites? Lies. International Space Station? Actors in harnesses. Spacewalks? Just filmed underwater. It's the Truman Show but make it fantasy RPG model. Model 3. Infinite Plane. This one is for the lore goblins. The Earth is flat, but it extends forever with other worlds past the ice wall. Like, DLC maps we're not allowed to visit, civilizations, resources, other suns, etc., etc. We're quarantined in our zone by elites. This one pops up a lot now because it blends with New World Order Illuminati stuff and lets you roleplay being a prisoner in a cosmic Hunger Games arena. Model 4, Biblical Literalist Flat Earth. This one says Earth is flat because certain lines in Scripture mention the four corners of the earth and the firmament. So they build a cosmology with literal pillars, literal windows of heaven, literal waters above the sky. We are going to talk about that later because A, context matters, and B, ancient poetic language exists, my dude. Now, do any of these models agree with each other? Absolutely not. Do they fight each other? Yes. Constantly. Flat earthers argue with other flat earthers nonstop. It's incredible. You'll be watching them and one's like, the sun is a local rotating light source inside the dome approximately 32 miles wide. And the other one's like, no, you fucking idiot, the sun is a portal to the astral frequency realm beyond the wall. Educate yourself. And they are mad at each other. Like full caps lock energy. You're why people think we're crazy! Brother, listen, I have news. So when I say flat earth belief, I don't mean one clean united theory. I mean an entire ecosystem of anti-mainstream identity packages sharing one core slogan: the globe is a lie. That's all it has to be. Everything else can completely contradict. It doesn't matter. As long as the globe is a lie, we are brothers in arms, soldier. Report to the Discord. And listen. From a pure story crafting standpoint, from a lore perspective, dude, it slaps. It slaps so fucking hard. It's got mystery, forbidden borders, sinister space agencies, ancient maps, lost civilizations, hidden worlds, secret societies, chosen ones. This thing has Halo energy. It has Elden Ring energy. It even has Attack on Titan energy. Of course people fall in love with that story. Because it's a fucking banger. It's just not real. Like, at all. At a certain point, reality walks in like a substitute teacher with a stack of worksheets and goes, "Okay, kids, put the crayons down." And that's where I come in. Hi, I'm Worksheets. So we've set the emotional stakes. We've named our final boss, Flat Earth Industrial Complex. We've defined the main builds. Now we're going to do something dangerous. We're going to take their claim seriously. Not because they deserve it, fuck no, but because it is so much more satisfying to body slam a claim after you let it finish talking. So here's how this episode is going to be structured from here on out. Section 2, Influencers of Ignorance. We're going to talk about the modern flat earth movement like it's an esports team, and explain how they make money, how they control language, and how they keep people hooked even after they're proven wrong on camera. Section 3, Physics. Never heard of her. Gravity or gravity, curvature, day-night cycles, flights, satellites, the International Space Station. We're doing a full Mythbusters dissection. Section 4, Lore Patch Notes. Antarctica, the ice wall, NASA's faking space, why the entire airline industry apparently agreed to keep a straight face, and also why thousands of scientists in every country are all lying in sync for 60 plus years, is the single funniest premise in human civilization. Section 5, the why. And here, I dropped the jokes a little, and we're going to talk about why conspiracy thinking recruits normal, lonely, angry, scared people and then rewires them to treat facts like attacks. And then Section 6, that's just where I'm going to remind you that curiosity is beautiful, science is absolutely fucking cool, you are not dumb for having questions, and also that if you think we live on a cosmic dinner plate covered by a plastic dome, you might owe Eratosthenes an apology. So yeah, today's episode's going to be a journey. We started in ancient Greece with a guy measuring shadows. We passed through a Victorian chaos man with a confidence problem. We arrived in 2025 inside a YouTube thumbnail screaming, "NASA debunked, must watch before banned." And we're not done. We're about to meet the modern flat earth pipeline. We're going to talk about what happens when you make being wrong loudly into an entire brand. And after that, we're going to fight gravity, which, fun fact, we've been doing since my niece turned the age of 30. Yep, that's cartilage. Love that. Okay, stretch. Walk around. If you're listening in the car, don't actually walk around. Please stay seated. I don't want to get sued. Hydrate. Shake out your shoulders. We're moving on to Section 2. Welcome back, travelers. We've crossed the edge of the map and landed in the feed. Population, too many opinions, not enough hobbies. This is where Flat Earth stopped being a theory and became content. You see, the modern Flat Earth movement is not a movement. It's an algorithmic theme park. Every ride ends in a merch link. Every exit goes through the gift shop. And the mascots? They're not scientists. They're just influencers. Hey, what's up, truth seekers? It's your boy, Flatty McFacts, back with another video the elites don't want you to see. Smash that subscribe button like you're smashing NASA's lies. You've heard this voice. Half confidence, half energy drink. absolute zero research. It's the sound of a man who just discovered caps lock and believes it's a doctorate. So here's the cycle. 1. Discovery phase. Wait, why does the horizon look flat in pictures? 2. The rabbit hole. YouTube recommends top 10 reasons NASA is lying. 2023 remaster. 3. The community phase. You join a Discord called Edge Guardians. 4. The identity phase. You buy a hoodie. 5. Creator phase. You start your own channel because you're different. And 6. The monetization phase. Support me on Patreon so I can expose Big Globe. Flat Earth doesn't spread because of evidence. It spreads because of engagement metrics. YouTube and TikTok do not care if you are right. They care if you're loud. The algorithm doesn't read your diploma, it counts your comments section fistfight. And nothing drives engagement like defiance. Every debunk video that mocks them boosts them. Every duet that yells, "Are you serious right now?" Boom, free ads. And yeah, technically we're helping here. We're kind of a part of the problem, but we're also very funny, so we kind of cancel it out. So let's take a look at the archetypes, the Pokedex of dumb. Species number 1, the evangelist. Always has a podcast, never has a chair that doesn't squeak. He's got the microphone, the cap, the sign off. Keep looking up, sheeple. He live streams for 6 fucking hours straight from a basement that looks like a Radio Shack crime scene. He talks about mainstream media manipulation but uses a green screen he bought on Amazon, which, small fun fact, ships globally. Species 2, the researcher. This one's kind of my favorite because research means watching these same 3 YouTube videos until your brain becomes a PowerPoint. They'll start a sentence with, "I've done the research," and end it with, "and that's why airplanes use magic to stay level." Species 3, the prophet. Usually the crossover episode between Flat Earth and Revelation fan fiction. They quote scripture, mistranslate Hebrew, and somehow decide the firmament is both literal and made of sound waves. They'll look you dead in the eye and say, "God put a dome over us so we wouldn't escape." Buddy, if God built a dome, it's to keep you from touching the fucking thermostat. Species 4, the grifter. Merch. Always merch. Limited edition ice wall tees. Defund NASA hoodies. Wake up, mugs. If you can silk screen it, they can sell it. They don't care about truth. They care about shipping labels. I have seen one guy sell flat earth survival kits, and inside it's just a compass, a flashlight, and a DVD copy of The Matrix. What you are witnessing, folks, is the natural evolution of the conspiracy ecosystem. Step 1, be wrong. Step 2, be loud. Step 3, sell hoodies. Step 4, repeat until you can buy a yacht. It's basically multi-level marketing, but for geometry. Now let's talk about how they make it feel true, because it's not the facts, it's just the vibe. Trick 1, authority voice. Start every video with "scientists won't tell you this, but," and suddenly, you're a brave whistleblower. Trick number 2, mystery visuals. Slow motion B-roll of clouds with spooky music. Throw in lens flares and stock footage astronauts, and add text like, "Think for yourself." Congratulations, you're Neo in cargo shorts. Trick number 3, false dichotomy. Either Earth is flat or NASA's lying. That's like saying either cats can talk or Garfield is a documentary. Trick 4, community validation. Comments full of "finally, someone said it." Likes reinforce dopamine. Boom, tribe achieved. That's why arguing does not work. They're not looking for proof. They're looking for belonging. You can't fact check loneliness. So let's take a peek behind the curtain for a bit. The Flat Earth Society, the OG one, actually knows Earth is round now. Their own website quietly says we do not condone harassment or pseudoscience. And the newer influencers hate them for it. So yes, we have an entire fandom splitting into canon and non-canon. Flat Earth literally has expanded lore. Flat Earth 2, the re-flattening. This time, it's personal. There's even rivalry conventions. In 2019, one big Flat Earth event banned another group because of doctrinal differences. Imagine the fucking schedule. 10 a.m., registration. 11 a.m., keynote, gravity, the government's favorite myth. 1 p.m., lunch by Domino's, the only flat thing we can all agree on. 2 p.m., panel, how to argue with your astronaut brother-in-law. 4 p.m., closing ceremony and trust fall off the edge. Now, I can't just roast the fans. We've got to roast the platforms too, because this all thrives on algorithmic chaos. The same math that recommends you top 10 Nickelodeon intros also recommends top 10 reasons the moon landing was a Photoshop filter. And that's by design. The goal of a platform is not truth, it's watch time. If you scream NASA lies for 20 minutes and 800 people watch all the way through, you are now valuable. YouTube literally had to patch this in 2019. They changed the algorithm to demote borderline misinformation, but the Flat Earth crowd just pivoted keywords. Now it's question everything, alternative cosmology, or free thinkers. SEO for the uneducated, baby. This episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is sponsored by Freethinker VPN. Hide your IP, your location, and your ability to finish a book. So when you ask, how do people still believe this in 2025, the answer is because the internet figured out how to make money from it. Fear equals clicks. Clicks equal cash. Cash equals more videos. More videos equal repetition. Repetition equals truth. Ish. That's the psychological loop. Once you've seen a claim 5 times, your brain files it under familiar, and familiar feels true. So your feed literally hypnotizes you into dumbness. It's like TikTok brain rot, but for maps. All right, that's the overview. Next, we'll meet the big names, the YouTubers, the Netflix documentaries, the guy with the laser gyroscope that proved the Earth rotates and then said, equipment error. Yes, we're doing Behind the Curve. Grab a snack, go pet your dog. Tell the internet you love it, but it's grounded. Okay, so let's talk about Behind the Curve. If you haven't seen it, first, do yourself a favor. Second, it's the best accidental comedy since Cats in 2019. Netflix handed Flat Earth leaders the microphone, and they promptly proved themselves wrong on camera. Not figuratively, literally. They spent $10,000 on a military-grade gyroscope, the kind pilots use to measure Earth's rotation. If the Earth spins once every 24 hours, the gyro should drift 15 degrees per hour. Guess what it did? 15 degrees per hour. And instead of going, maybe we are wrong, they said, and I quote, something must be interfering with the results. It was the results. The results are interfering with the results. It's like getting an F on a math test and saying the numbers are gaslighting you. Then they try again with a laser test across the lake. One guy holds up a board with a hole, another guy shines a light through. And if the Earth is curved, the beam should hit lower on the other end. Guess what? It does. So he yells, "Hold the light higher!" And when it lines up, he mutters the saddest line in documentary history. Interesting. That interesting hit like an existential crisis. You can feel his soul buffering. Live from Denver, it's Flat Earth International 2023. Keynote speaker, a guy whose PowerPoint has Comic Sans. And closing the show, a balloon experiment that definitely won't violate FAA regulations. These events are half pep rally, half multi-level marketing meeting. Every booth sells salvation at $30 a t-shirt. And you better believe they film everything for content, because nothing says truth movement like a 2-camera setup and a ring light the size of Saturn. So let's talk money, because if you think they're doing this for the truth, buddy, that truth comes with a checkout button. We've got Flat Earth coffee, Flat Earth supplements, Flat Earth dating apps. I am not making that up. There really was one. Tagline, find someone who completes your circle, which is bold marketing for people who don't believe in circles. They've turned delusion into a lifestyle brand, and you know what? That's almost impressive. It's capitalism on expert difficulty. This episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is brought to you by Edgecoin, the only crypto guaranteed not to go up. Now, the big influencers call them the founding fools. They all share one thing: unearned confidence. It's a performance. You don't need data, you need swagger. They speak in sermon cadence. They don't want you to know. Open your eyes. Wake up, sheeple. The rhythm feels profound even when the content is word salad. That cadence hijacks your brain's pattern detector. It sounds like truth. Psychologists call this the illusion of explanatory depth. You think you understand something because you heard it said confidently. Confidence is contagious. And these dipshits are patient zero. So to a degree, if you yell louder, you may win arguments. But you're going to lose friends, jobs, and custody of the cat. Flat Earth TikTok is a speed run of human regression. 30-second bursts of anti-science set to trap beats. Proof we live under a dome. No cap. NASA caught CGI-ing clouds again. My neighbor works for Space Force and says they can't go up more than 5 miles. It's misinformation jazz. Improvised, chaotic, and somehow always in 4:4 time. And because the algorithm rewards emotion, not accuracy, these clips explode. YouTube at least pretends to filter. TikTok just hands them a megaphone and says, "Dance, monkey." You can scroll for an hour and watch your IQ evaporate like vape smoke. The For You page becomes the Flat You page. And every cult needs a father figure. These creators become that. They read comments, call followers family, say, "I love you guys," while pushing out coupon codes. Lonely people hear belonging, and belonging feels safer than doubt. So when a scientist debunks them, the audience doesn't hear correction. They hear an attack on the family. That's why logic slides off like Teflon. You can't out-fact emotion. And look, I can joke all day, but this is the scary part. The same machinery that radicalized people into flat Earth is the one radicalizing them into literally everything else. Once you teach your brain trust the vibe, not the evidence, you're vulnerable to every grift in the multiverse. So yeah, it is hilarious. Until Aunt Debbie won't fly to Thanksgiving because she doesn't trust the globe's curvature math. Okay, so that's the state of the influencers. A cottage industry built on pixels, paranoia, and promo codes. But coming up next, we're going to put their science on trial. Gravity, curvature, day and night. The whole planetary buffet. So grab your calculators and your common sense. Pencils down. Time to talk about the invisible hand that makes everything fall down, and apparently makes conspiracy brains slide straight out of their ears. Gravity. According to flat Earth logic, gravity is not real. It's just density. Things fall because heavy things go down. Cool. By that reasoning, I get up every day and go to work because I'm dense and the couch repels me. So let's unpack. Gravity is the weakest of the four fundamental forces, but it is consistent. It's what keeps the moon orbiting Earth, the Earth orbiting the sun, and my coffee orbiting my shirt every fucking time I sneeze. It's measurable, predictable, it's repeatable. The opposite of TikTok. Flat earthers say if gravity's real, why don't things fall sideways when the Earth spins? Great question, hypothetical wrong person. Because of physics. You, me, the air, the oceans, we are all moving with the planet. You don't feel motion unless speed changes. That's why you don't get launched through your fucking windshield at 70 miles per hour until you break. Flat Earth lore claims gravity is fake. The Earth just accelerates upwards at 9.8 meters a second squared. So apparently, we're on a cosmic elevator that's been going up forever. At that rate, the universe would need infinite fuel and everybody's hair would be permanently blown back like a 90s music video. It's not just wrong, it's beautifully cinematically wrong. This portion of the Average Joe Nerdcast is brought to you by Universal Upward Motion Incorporated. Because when you run out of logic, just accelerate the entire planet. So yeah, gravity is real. If you doubt it, drop your phone. Did you do it? Congratulations, you just performed a $1,500 experiment. Next up, curvature, the flat crowd's favorite optical illusion / science denial parade. You've heard the argument. If Earth's curved, why does the horizon look flat? Because you're tiny, buddy. You are 5'9" on a planet that's 25,000 miles around. That's like an ant saying, my living room's flat, therefore the Earth is flat. Airplanes prove curvature literally every day. Pilots adjust pitch to maintain altitude over a sphere. GPS would not work if we were on a disk because satellite triangulation depends on geometry that only exists in 3 dimensions. And yes, we have pictures from orbit, but the flat earthers will say that night sky is just CGI. And literally all you have to do is walk outside and look up at the sky at nighttime to prove that theory wrong. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Reality. Reality, now available in 4K if you take your ass outside. So gravity holds us down. Curvature makes boats disappear bottom first, and the only thing that's flat around here is Steve's learning curve. Coming up next, day and night cycles, airline routes, and how satellites manage to exist without falling off the edge. Stay hydrated. We're heading to space. Walk into a room. Flip the light switch on. Now flip it off. Congratulations, you just witnessed day and night. You're welcome. The flat Earth model says the sun is a tiny spotlight circling above the disk like a confused drone. It only shines on certain areas, creating day and night as it orbits inside the dome. Sure, because that makes so much more sense than a 93 million mile away star lighting up half a sphere. If that were true, sunsets would look like somebody dimmed a flashlight, not like the sun slowly dipping below the horizon. Instead, we'd see the sun shrink into the distance and fade, but we don't. We see it drop, because it's going behind the goddamn curve, not away from us. Next up, planes. Flat earthers love maps where flights don't make sense on a globe. They'll say if Earth's round, why do planes from Johannesburg to Sydney stop in Dubai? Because that's where fuel, customs, and money are, Jeff. If the Earth were flat, long-haul pilots would have to be in on the lie. That's millions of people. Pilots, air traffic controllers, maintenance crews, all somehow keeping quiet. And you've met pilots, right? You think a group of caffeine-addicted people with zero sleep and infinite opinions could all keep a secret this long? They tweet edge pics, lol, #classified. before takeoff. This episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is brought to you by Flat Flyer Airlines, where every flight is nonstop because we can't find the fucking edge. Then there's the crown jewel of this whole thing, NASA fake space. Apparently every photo, every live stream, every satellite feed, every weather map, every GPS ping is CGI. Cool theory, except satellite TV fucking exists. So does Starlink. You use GPS to find Chipotle, my dude. You are literally triangulating burritos using orbital mechanics. NASA is not running a global Photoshop subscription. They are tracking 26,000 pieces of space junk just to keep us from getting KO'd by a lost wrench. All right, science class dismissed. We've debunked gravity, curvature, sunsets, flights, and satellites, all before my coffee got cold. Coming up next, the final test of physics. The Antarctic wall, the dome, and the idea that every scientist since Eratosthenes has been a paid actor. So welcome to the edge, folks. Bring your parkas and your IQs. We've arrived at the edge, the great, terrifying, frozen border of our pancake planet, Antarctica, the flat Earth final boss. In their mythology, Antarctica is not a continent. It's a ring, a 360-degree ice wall circling the entire world. Hundreds of feet tall, patrolled by the secret NASA UN Penguin Task Force. Yeah, the penguins are apparently in on it. Apparently, they signed the Antarctic Treaty of Evil in 1959. Now, according to the lore, the government built bases along the wall to stop adventurers from seeing the edge. And anyone who tries disappears. You know, like your cousin who said he'd start a podcast with you. In real life, Antarctica is 5.4 million square miles of frozen nightmare. You can absolutely go there. Scientists live there. Tourists do visit. There is no guards with laser rifles, just penguins wondering why your GoPro costs more than their ecosystem. But the narrative has to stay dramatic, so online you'll see blurry photos labeled The Edge. Spoiler, it's just a picture of a glacier. If you've ever been to Alaska, congrats! You've already found the edge of every Flat Earther's PowerPoint. Brought to you by Edge Vacations. Book now and experience the thrill of standing near a wall of ice while strangers on the internet call you part of the cabal. Now we move from snow problem to snow globe. The dome theory says Earth is sealed under a giant transparent shell. The stars are glued to it, the sun and moon are LED track lights, and meteors are the system's screensavers. It's the cosmic equivalent of living inside a Tupperware bowl. They'll show photos of the aurora borealis and say that's electricity hitting the dome. No, dipshit, that's solar particles smacking our magnetic field. The same reason your phone loses signal when you microwave leftovers. They'll say rockets explode because they hit the dome. No, dude, rockets explode because physics is fucking hard and combustion does not give a shit about your worldview. If the dome existed, we'd hear it. Sound waves bounce. Radar would detect a global ceiling. Meteorologists would be like, hey, our radio just hit God's windshield again. But no such echo exists. And if it were solid, what would it be made of? Glass, water, unobtainium from Avatar? Every theory changes mid-sentence because you can't maintain fantasy physics once real math walks in the room wearing sensible shoes. And you know what's funny? The same people who yell, the dome proves God's design, will also say the government made the dome. Buddy, pick a lane. Either divine architecture or Area 51 Home Depot. You cannot have it both ways. This segment of the show is brought to you by Home Dome. Because when the truth won't fit your worldview, build a ceiling. All right, frostbite of logic achieved. Next up, every scientist is lying. So grab your cocoa, folks. We're heading back to Mission Control. Welcome to NASA, the agency that apparently has the free time to stage every space launch, fake every photo, and personally gaslight every substitute teacher with a globe. So let's math this out. According to Flat Earth lore, every astronaut, engineer, radar tech, telescope operator, and space program janitor is in on it. That's about 400,000 people, give or take whoever's on vacation at any given time. Now, multiply that by 60 years. That's tens of millions of people across multiple generations who have somehow never drunk texted, "Hey, babe, Earth's actually a Pringle." If one intern leaked a selfie with the edge of the world, it'd be on Reddit before the coffee cooled. Yet, there's never been anything. Not one blurry TikTok, not one oops in an Amazon memoir. This episode brought to you by NDII, the world's most powerful non-disclosure agreement. Because secrets are easy when you pay everyone in moon cheese. Next claim, all space photos are CGI. Cool, but NASA's first images come out in 1960. Photoshop didn't exist until 1988. So either they invented time travel and used it exclusively for memes, or the pictures are absolutely real. Film negatives exist. Astronomers in other countries that don't even like us, have taken the same pictures. If we're faking it, so is Japan, India, the EU, China, and that one guy in his backyard with a telescope and a Costco budget. Congrats, you've just accused the entire fucking planet of participating in a global realism LARP. And then the flat earthers will say that Hollywood is helping NASA cover it up. And to that, I'll say, buddy, if Hollywood could coordinate that many sequels without a continuity error, the DC universe wouldn't have taken 15 goddamn years to find a tone. So, let's follow the money, right? Flat earthers love saying NASA makes trillions. In reality, their budget is about $25 billion. Sounds huge until you realize Americans spend more on dog treats every year. So apparently, milk bones are a bigger global conspiracy than our satellites. If NASA were running a fake planet empire, you'd see Bezos delivering ice wall supplies by drone. Instead, the real scam is influencer merch. I promise you, defund gravity shirts make more than any moon rover. This episode of the Average Joe Nerdcast is sponsored by Spacebucks, because when you can't go to space, sell it. And here's another gem. Astronauts are crisis actors in zero-G swimming pools. Yes, NASA does practice underwater, because physics is hard and spacesuits are heavy. But you can't fake orbital mechanics by holding your breath. If every spacewalk were filmed in a pool, where are the fucking lifeguards? Where's the noodle float in the Apollo footage? Why didn't Buzz Aldrin surface for air halfway through the moon landing to complain about chlorine burn? Alright, Mission Control's power bill is overdue and my patience is out of oxygen. Okay, so let's take a quick breath. We've roasted, we've memed, we've launched Steve into orbit emotionally. Now it's time for the patch notes. This is the part of every deep dive where we stop punching the punchlines and start asking why any of this works on people, because it's easy to call something stupid, but it's even harder, but way more useful to ask, why does stupid sell? Flat Earth is not really a belief system. It's mythology that thinks it's a TED Talk. Every society builds myths to make chaos feel like a pattern. The ancients had thunder gods. We have YouTube thumbnails. The difference, ancient myths admitted they were symbolic. Modern ones pretend they're data. When someone says the globe is a lie, what they usually mean is, I don't feel safe in a world this big, this complicated, and this unfair. The myth shrinks the universe back down to human scale. If the Earth is flat, there's no abyss, no infinity, just a map with edges you can see. That's comforting. Terrifyingly comforting. Our brains are pattern recognition machines. They see faces in clouds, meaning and randomness, destiny and coincidence. It's the same glitch that makes you think your phone listens to you. And it's the same glitch that whispers, if the experts can lie about one thing, maybe they lie about everything. Once that switch flips, every dot connects, no matter how far apart. It's creative writing disguised as logic. And look, creativity is not the enemy. Some of the best storytellers alive are conspiracy theorists. They just forgot that storytelling is not science. Then there's the loneliness factor. Scroll enough at 2 o'clock in the morning and the algorithm starts whispering, "You're not alone. There are others just like you. Come to the comments." That's the real magic spell. Belonging. Flat Earth videos don't just feed doubt, they feed community. They give you a clubhouse, a jargon, an identity that says you see what others can't. And once your friends live inside that echo chamber, leaving it feels like betrayal. You're not just wrong, you're exiled. That's why people double down when proven wrong. They're not defending data, they're defending home. And yeah, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's tragic, and sometimes it's both. Because the same internet that taught us friendship through controllers and chat lobbies also taught an entire generation to mistrust everything that does not validate them. It's not just flat Earth. It's miracle diets, miracle politics, miracle gods. They all use the same firmware. Make the listener feel chosen. There's a quote I love from Donald Katz. Confidence is the sound a fool makes right before you believe him. The loudest voice always wins the algorithm, and the algorithm doesn't care who's right. It just wants you angry enough to stay. So if you ever wonder why the truth moves slower than a lie, remember, truth requires patience, and patience does not trend. And that's the why. Flat Earth is not about maps. It's about meaning. It's about wanting the universe to notice you. And honestly, I get that. We all want to feel like the main character in something. We all want the cheat codes, but the universe does not hide Easter eggs behind an ice wall. It hides them in each other, in curiosity, in humility, in admitting we don't know everything. That's not a conspiracy, that's just being human. You know, somewhere in the middle of all this noise, I started thinking about that word we keep throwing around. Truth. How it's supposed to feel like bedrock, but lately feels more like quicksand. We live in an age where facts are optional accessories and confidence is currency. But here's the twist. The truth never asked to be popular. It just asked to be tested. Every time someone points at a blurry photo and says, "This proves it," I want to hand them a stick like Eratosthenes and say, "Cool, go outside, measure a shadow, find out." Because that's the point of science, not belief, but curiosity. The freedom to say, "I don't know, so let's find out together." That's the antidote to conspiracy thinking. Not humiliation, not debate clubbing people into submission, just getting back to that childlike curiosity that asks why without already knowing the answer. I think about that sometimes when I'm outside with my kids. They'll point at the moon and say, "What's that?" And I'll say, "It's a rock that glows because the sun hits it." And then they'll say, "Why?" And I'll realize that's the healthiest question a person can ever ask. Why? Not who's lying, not what's the agenda, but just why. The flat earth thing, sure, it is 100% fucking ridiculous. But buried under the tinfoil is a question we all have. Does any of this make sense? And the answer is yes, it does. If you take the time to look up instead of scroll down. So maybe that's where we'll leave it. The world is not flat, but wonder is infinite. And as long as we keep laughing, learning, and calling out bullshit when it shows up wearing a lab coat, we are doing all right. Well, we made it. We reached the edge, we looked over, and found out it loops. Because the only thing flatter than the Earth is the learning curve of people who argue with satellites. But you know what? I'm glad I took this trip. I'm glad I laughed at it, questioned it, and still walked away reminded that curiosity is not the enemy. It's the whole point. The same curiosity that got Eratosthenes measuring shadows is the one that got us landing rovers on the moon. And if the world really were flat, I think humanity would still find a way to build something round. Because that's what we do. We roll forward. And cats would have already knocked everything off of it by now. Little assholes. So here's to the round things, planets, ideas, coffee mugs, love that comes back around even after a rough orbit. And hey, if you're listening right now, maybe wondering why the world feels so divided or so loud, remember, you are part of the reason it keeps spinning. You're one of the good ones keeping gravity in check. To my player 2, thanks for keeping me grounded even when my brain's in the stratosphere. To Cap, you'd have fallen off the edge with me just to see what was down there. To my brother Ian holding down the fort, you keep me centered when the static gets too loud. And to Pickle, buddy, if you ever start a Flat Earth podcast, I'm revoking your goddamn internet privileges. And always, shout out to the patron saint of AJN, my girl Ripley, who's bravely policing the edge of the map to keep me from falling off of it. And finally, to this entire community, the listeners, the late night crew still chasing wonder instead of outrage. You're the real mission control. Stay curious, stay kind, stay skeptical, but not cynical. Stay gold, nerd bold, and don't fall off the map. I'll catch you on the next one.
Game over.